up, everybody? Welcome to General Hospital Envy, my GH After Show. Y'all, we finally made it after a year and a half of annoyance after annoyance. The truth about Wiley has finally come out, and we're going to talk about it, but first let's get everything else out of the way so that we can talk about it in full detail. Let's quickly talk about Anna. She runs into Finn at the Metro Court and asks him when he'd be coming back, but before he could give a proper answer, that's when Peter shows up, and Finn couldn't get away fast enough. Peter puts two and two together and realizes that Finn left Anna because of him. Anna then decides to ask Peter for full honesty, and he actually admits to going to the Attorney General about Robert and Jason and Sam, but he does deny that he was involved in the attacks of Andre and Franco and the death of Drew. So I'm just like, Anna, girl, use your eyes and ears, learn from this. He is clearly lying. And he even makes a point to try and be like, Robert is only doing this to try and break Finn and Anna up. And Anna's just like, no, like Finn's got his own mind. You're kidding, right? You can tell that Anna knows, right? But she just is so protective of him because she may or may not be his mom. Like it drives me crazy. I'm just over it at this point. I'm over it. Elsewhere in Port Charles, the mob turf war is in full swing. Sonny and Jason realize that Cyrus was bringing in a shipment of very expensive drugs into a warehouse. They found out where the warehouse was, and Jason goes there to blow it up. And there's this great scene of Jason setting off the detonator while walking away while the explosion happens behind it. It was pretty cool looking. So cool looking that Steve Burton actually got the cinematographers to screenshot it and print it for him as a souvenir of that epic moment. It was hilarious. I have to admit, that was a pretty strong power play by Sonny and Jason. It makes them look a little more competent than they probably actually are. Cyrus was not too happy, but we did find out that there is way more to Cyrus being in Port Charles just to move his stuff here than meets the eye. He's not just going after Sonny and Jason's territory. Turns out he's got some personal reasons of his own to be here, so let's discuss that. So it turns out that Jordan and Taggert were a part of the DEA team that brought Cyrus down. They were working undercover and actually brought him down by using some shady means, but did so anyway. And their cover had remained intact for many, many years. However, Cyrus figured it out, and now he's going after that entire team. He's already killed two of the members, and Taggert and Jordan are the last ones standing. Instead of going to kill Jordan, Cyrus decided to move himself to Pentonville, just in Port Charles, so that he could burn her city down because he realized that she is the commissioner of this town. That is his reason for being there. Curtis had been snooping around because he didn't trust Taggert at all because he's seeing that his wife is keeping secrets with Taggert being involved in some way, and Taggert is kind of getting sick of it, so he decides that it's best to let Curtis in on it so that he could protect himself. So Curtis now knows the truth as well. Now as for Taggert, we don't actually know what Cyrus's plan for him is yet, but we did learn that Taggert has some family ties in Port Charles. It turns out that he is actually Trina's father, and I did not see that coming. I did, however, suspect them to be related, but I did think that Gia, Taggert's sister, was Trina's mother. But I guess I was wrong. So I actually thought that Trina might be Nicholas and Gia's daughter that Nicholas may not be aware about. But that doesn't seem to be the case. But it does kind of remind me of a few things that have been going on with Stella. Now hear out my theory here. So as you guys know, Stella was looking into her ancestry line and found out that she has a tie in Port Charles, and she tried to reach out to that tie, and the tie turned her down, right? And so she went and met up with another relative that happened to be in England, and that's where she's been most of this time. But we also learned that Trina had been looking into her ancestry line, and that she also found a tie in Port Charles, but she turned down meeting her. So obviously Stella and Trina are related, and so what I think is that Stella is Trina's grandmother, and that she is actually Taggert's real mother. Now we did actually meet Taggert's mother at one point. Her name was Florence. But it doesn't mean that she is his biological mother. Of course, he could have been adopted, and he may not know. And the thing is, we know that Stella was in a relationship with a man named Marcus, and that there is way more to the story about those two than meets the eye. But we haven't really learned anything yet. Marcus is Taggert's first name, so maybe she named Taggert after Marcus. That's my theory. That is my theory, and I'm going to run with it, and I hope I'm right. But it does make sense Do you guys agree with me? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, are you ready? Because it is now time to discuss the bigger paternity reveal, Wiley's truth finally coming out. It's a long time coming, 1.5 years, and we're finally there. Let's begin. I'm so stoked. Okay, so Nell decides to sell her shares of ELQ to Valentine, and he trades in a big wad of cash for her, as well as fake passports for her and for Wiley. She planned on taking Wiley out of the country and leaving Michael in the dust. But she knew that time was of the essence. Brad and Lucas were going to leave town soon, sooner than she thought. They are having their going away party, so she shows up at the Corinthos house to try and, say goodbye to Brad and Lucas and probably grab Wiley. But Brad reveals that Wiley is with Willow, and that was his first mistake. So Nell leaves, but not really. When she is lurking around the house, she hears Lucas finally remember that Brad told her in the car that Wiley was actually Nell and Michael's son, and he got up and said it to Michael instantly. Thank God he did not decide to keep it a secret. I would have blown a freaking gasket. But yeah, Nell heard that, and so she ran to Willow's house to grab Wiley, and Willow and Nell freaking brawled it out. It was entertaining as hell. Willow can legit put up a fight. It was great until, of course, Wiley started to cry, and she got distracted, and Nell knocked her out. And at this point, I'm like, this is it. This is what's going to drag the storyline even longer. She's going to grab Wiley and take him out of the country, and they're not going to be able to find them for all of 2020. That is legitimately what I thought, because this is what little faith I have in the writers not dragging things out. Even though the writing team is swapped, I just fully expected it. But thankfully, Michael and Chase got to Willow's place in time before she even left, and she had no choice but to hand over Wiley to Michael, and Nell got arrested by Chase. My favorite part of the scene was that when the other officer was taking Nell away and holding her, Chase was carrying Willow to take her to the hospital, and she was just like, bye Willow. Like, I freaking love Chloe Lanier. She plays Nell so well. She is so entertaining. That is how a villain should be. Entertaining as shit. No gray spots for her. She's just a complete psychopath. They're not trying to write her to be, what's the word? Like felt sorry for, That to me bothers me when it comes to villains, when they try to gain sympathy and try to sell villains as okay characters that are just misunderstood. Nah, Nell is just a plain old villain. She's psycho crazy, and I love her that way. That's why I don't like villains like Valentine, because it's just I don't know, the writing's just crappy. Anyway, Nell fully plans on throwing Brad under the bus. She is denying that she had any part to do with Brad taking her baby. She just says, oh, I was unconscious when Brad grabbed that baby from my arms and placed it with a dead one. And I'm just like, girl, no one's gonna believe you. And she's in a jail cell and putting on the show for Brad and the officer that was listening, just outside of the jail cell. And for me, I'm just thinking, first of all, she shouldn't even be in a holding cell. She should be back in Pentonville because she assaulted the crap out of Willow. That breaks her parole. Why is her parole so much more lenient than Sam's? It makes no sense to me whatsoever. That is the one flaw with this story, is that Nell has seemingly been able to roam around town freely. I've not once seen a parole officer near her site at all. I mean, she was able to live in the Quartermain mansion with Michael, who is also a convicted felon, which apparently is the reason why Jason can't be around Sam, so that doesn't make any sense either. It's the one part that really bothers me of this storyline. I hope it's rectified in some way. Either way, hopefully someone finds the passports that Nell was going to use to take Wiley out of town, because then that proves that she knew that her baby wasn't dead and that she planned on running away with him. Now, as entertaining as Nell was during this reveal, the true stars of the storyline were Willow and Lucas. Caitlin and Ryan were absolutely phenomenal in their scenes. Willow finding out that Wiley wasn't her son was absolutely heartbreaking, and I cried watching her. She did such a great job. When she said the line about Brad trading her son in like a broken appliance to a psychopath, that's when I really lost it. She was just devastated. Caitlin, I'm so impressed, because I remember when she first came on, I was not really sold on the character, and you know, as months went on, I really did start liking her character, but I did not expect her to be that amazing at these kind of emotional scenes. She absolutely rocked it. Great job, Caitlin. And then of course for Ryan, he played Lucas a bit more subtly. He was just really quiet and devastated and trying to be strong for Wiley because he knows what the right thing to do is, and that's to hand him over to Michael. But you could see how absolutely crushed he was, and just the subtle like chokeness in his voice, and just, you know, saying, hey, you're gonna be going home with your Uncle Michael now, and just handing him off, and then just hugging Bobby, like, oh, just, it was so good. It was so amazing and so beautiful of a scene. You guys, I feel so bad for Lucas because he lost everything in one big brutal blow. Like, he lost his husband and his son in one big swoop, and on top of that, he doesn't even know that Julian was aware what happened. So I feel like he's going to lean on Julian only to find out that Julian was a part of keeping the secret, and that's just going to bring him down to a whole new level, like just way deeper down the rabbit hole. And I think about Tony, who I consider Lucas's real father because he was the one that raised him, and how Tony went through a dark phase that he never got out of once BJ died. So this, I feel like, potentially could be a road that they go down for with Lucas. And I'm scared for the guy. I hope he can pick himself up and just, you know, find love again and find a new family and just get out of this mess. But I just feel like they're going to bring him into this darkness that he won't get out of. I hope that he has good scenes with Bobby because I feel like they don't get enough one-on-one scenes together. And I hope that Ghost Tony comes back for him as well to give him some advice, because if he could talk to Tony at any point in his life, this would be the moment where it should happen. But yeah, just, it's such a bad situation, and it's funny because Carly mentioned that this is what they did with AJ and Michael, and then it actually took a year and a half too, so it makes me wonder if the writer's plan was to have the year and a half thing happen all along, just to have that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, just that comparison, and so that Carly could be like, well, I know I might be considered a hypocrite, but this sucks, this is like colossal, and Brad was more selfish about it, which I'm like, okay Carly, like your reasons weren't great either, but I digress. The point is, the story is finally, you know, coming to a close, and I don't know what's going to happen next, but bravo to that reveal, because I thought it was really good. But yeah, that was this week on General Hospital. It was a crazy week. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this review, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace out.